It's an honor to speak with you today about something that's at the heart of student success: clarity for learning. As educators, we dedicate our time and energy to inspiring students, challenging them, and preparing them for the future. But no matter how rich our content and how engaging our lessons, if students don't have a clear understanding of what they're learning, why it matters, and how to achieve success, we are leaving too much to chance. Clarity in learning is not just about giving instructions. It's about creating a learning environment where expectations are transparent, feedback is actionable, and every student has a roadmap to success. When students know the learning goals, understand how their progress will be measured, and see the relevance of their education, they take ownership of their learning. Research backs this up. Studies show that when teachers articulate clear learning objectives, students demonstrate greater engagement, higher achievement, and increased confidence. In contrast, when expectations are vague and inconsistent, students struggle. Not because they lack ability, because they don't know what success looks like. So how do we as educators ensure clarity in learning? Number one, we clearly define learning goals. Every student should be able to answer 3 questions at any time. What am I learning? Why am I learning this? And how do I know I've learned it? And number 2, provide meaningful, timely feedback. Feedback should be more than just a grade. It should be a guide. Are we helping students see their progress and giving them actionable next steps? And number 3, make learning relevant. When students see the real-world connections of what they are learning, they are more motivated and invested in their education. Ultimately, clarity empowers students. It transforms classrooms into places of confidence, curiosity, and success. And it's not just about what we teach, it's about how we communicate that knowledge so every student can thrive.
We started our clarity work at Boulevard in 2017 with Dr. Jenkins and Clara Van Ness. The first thing we did as a staff was develop school-wide rules and school-wide learner powers. So we are sort of starting as a team, a whole staff, developing our identity at Boulevard and really having a clear expectation of what we want to see throughout the school. And besides what the rules are, what the students' learner powers are. At Boulevard, they're engaged, persistent, inquisitive, collaborative, problem solvers, and reflective. And so we really reinforce those on a daily basis as what it means to be a good student versus what it means to be a good learner. After that, we worked with having clear learning intentions and success criteria. So I would liken it to giving a kid a puzzle without having the picture. That would be not very fair, and it would be very hard for them. So by giving them the learning targets and success criteria, students know exactly where they need to go and how they're going to be successful and how they'll know when they are successful. One of the tools we use for them is called the learner pit. And so we put a concept or a question in the learner pit. For instance, can I use the matrix model to solve a 2x2 digit multiplication problems? And students self-assess along that unit where they are in their learning. They know where they are based on where they're supposed to be going, so they can say that they're in the learner pit, which means that they have cognitive conflict. And we use words like that here at Boulevard. And then as they're coming out of the pit, they're starting to construct knowledge. Eventually they're considering, do I have this? Am I ready to move on? And the final moment of joy is the eureka moment, and that's when they say to themselves, I know this, and not only do I know this, I can sit with a friend who's not quite there and help them out of the pit. In order to do this, I mean, you can do this privately or publicly, but we do this as a whole group community. You really need to build that community and that sense of risk-taking. I like to say in my class that mistakes are expected, respected, inspected, and corrected. And so having that learning community where students are constantly self-assessing, where am I in my learning? What do I need to do to get to the success criteria? And is there anything I can do to help my friends get to that eureka moment themselves?
Clarity has been essential to my coaching because at its core, clarity is student-centered. I work with teachers to create goals for students to achieve. When students know what they need to do to be successful, then they become stakeholders in their learning. I had a class of fourth graders recently, and they were cheering so loudly because they got their OST benchmark writing scores back. We worked so hard, and they were just very excited to see their scores. This was kids celebrating their data. Clarity and coaching partner together creates a school environment where teachers are sharing their best work, because clarity makes all the work. It's not just visible to the students, but also for other teachers to see. This creates an environment where a school is greater than the sum of its parts. Student-centered coaching and clarity focuses on student data and evidence of their learning. And when you see students taking ownership of their learning and celebrating all of their success, you better believe that teachers and coaches and school leaders were all celebrating right alongside with them.